Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of our podcast, Free Therapy.
Hi, my name is Elena and I'm 21.
My name is Ghassan, or you can call me Paul, and I'm 21 as well.
Yes, so this is our first ever episode that we thought about for a long time.
And
We,
we're so, I don't know if you are, but I am. I think you're as well. I'm so fucking excited because this has been such like a long journey working on this episode to finally make it like come true actually.
yes, and besides the fact that I am excited, I'm very nervous as well. It's a bit weird having to
Mhm.
talk into mics. I mean, we started this podcast basically because the energy we have and like the conversations we have and as many memes and people out there, first conversation you have with your best friend and it's deep, you're like, oh, we should open a podcast. But actually this idea, it's been in our minds for a long time, as
Yes, for like
he
about
said.
I think for like about 2 years right now, almost. I think it was just like kind of still the beginning of our friendship, and when we started like getting closer to each other, I could say.
Yeah.
Like we were friends already, of course, but it was just the beginning of when we started feeling like a deeper connection with each other and like started sharing like more personal stuff with each other. And it was just like these types of like deep conversations we were having when really like those memes we were at some point like, wow, we should really have a podcast. And for me, I mean, I think Elena was the one that dropped that sentence and we laughed about it, but
It made it out of the group chat.
yeah, like it actually made it out of the group chat. Like I got interested in the idea, like, oh my god, actually, like what if we turn this into a podcast? Because like it really should be like the energy that we have while having those conversations is really podcast worthy.
Yes, it's like
So
something I would really like to hear. Like, not just any people dropping a podcast talking shit. I mean,
mhm.
I like hearing people talk shit, of course. But, like, I don't know, it's just the way we match our sentences because we're best friends and it's not like I think if it was for us to drop this podcast 2 years ago, it would have been a bit different. But we grew to understand each other and to basically end each other's sentences and the
Yes.
jokes we have and everything. I think we kind of got to the same level,
Hmm.
like mentality, like, or way of thinking, like how we think and the jokes and everything. So I think it's really important
Yes, I totally agree with that.
because
Like,
I'm sorry. I don't feel like it would have worked if it was for us to have different opinions and just to literally argue on a podcast.
yeah, I kind of see what you're talking about, like what you mean. Because if I look back, like I said, like if I look back 2 years ago to how our friendship was, like it got so much more mature over the time. Like
Yes.
we experienced so much stuff in those 2 years that it
Yes.
basically made us like grow out of the type of personality and character that we had 2 years ago. And those type of experiences that we went through, and the fact that we are like somehow only like the only friends for each other's
Yeah.
made us have to like share those experiences with
And
each other.
yes, but also not on a way that like just in a friendship we experience stuff with each other.
Yeah,
Also what we experienced by ourselves.
yeah, totally. Like it's not just, I'm not just talking about experiences that we have together. It's just like maybe my personal experiences that I was sharing with Elena, or Elena's personal experiences that she was sharing with me, and that were somehow influencing each other.
Yes,
Like I was
totally.
influencing her maybe with some of my experiences, and she was for sure like influencing me with some of hers. And we grew out of this type of characters that we had to come closer to each other, and that's what made the friendship somehow build up stronger and made us have even a deeper connection than the one we had 2 years ago.
Yes, that's perfectly said, to be
Yeah.
honest. And so, because it's our first episode and we don't want to like jump straight into what we actually want to do here, we decided to kind of give you a preview of like who are we, like what are we doing in our daily life. And
Yes.
we already explained like why we started this, but I think we should give you more details about what we're doing and how this idea actually
Mhm.
came to our mind 2 years ago.
Yes. So, as I said, the beginning of this whole thing was just like a basic conversation we had, and the drop of this sentence, like, oh my God, we should actually have a podcast. And I think I was the one that got really touched by this sentence, and I kept it in mind. Like, I really wanted to have a podcast, especially with Elena, because it was the beginning of this, like, era, I would call it, where we really started feeling a deeper connection with each other. And I was really touched by that, and the fact that those conversations were that good that I was thinking, like, I would really like to share them with, like, people. Like, I would like people to listen to the type of conversations we have. Like, yes, so basically, after that, we were, of course, still, like, maybe talking about it or chatting about it. Like, I was dropping some hints, like, oh my God, we should really, like, drop a podcast, we should work on it, blah, blah, blah. Till some point in, like, 2022, I think, where Elena discovered an app.
Yes, and like this app was basically a podcast app. I think it's even called like this, where you can record your own vocal messages basically, and you can add your friends in there, and everyone can drop their daily podcasts, and you can even have some questions you can answer there. It was really fun, and it was a way to keep in touch with each other,
Mhm.
because back then we even had like a bigger group than it is now, just me and him. But yeah, it was basically a way to keep in touch with each other because of our schedules.
Yes.
We are really busy, and that is the reason. Like, we're really busy because we're going to school. We're immigrants in Germany. Like, we're living here now for like 4 to 5 years.
Mhm.
And this came with a big responsibility, not just personal one, but in our families as well. We
Yes.
play a big role in our
Mhm.
families, because we are kind of at an age where we have to take care of some of our parents' problems, basically.
Yeah, that's right. So as Elena said, that app was kind of the start of this idea, because we were keeping each other, like, updated during the day, and it was somehow like a type of short, like, vocal messages. Like, instead of like 2 or like 3 minutes, they were like 10 minutes or 15 minutes sometimes. Still short for like a podcast to say, but it was like the beginning. It was a type of like training for us, and it was really fun because it was like private into this, like,
Platform.
circle.
Yes.
Yes, like circle of friends that we had. Like, we were just adding each other, and just the friends that you have were able to listen to your, like, daily update. So
Yeah. Sorry. There's gonna be, I think, a lot of awkward messages. We're still trying, and as we said, we're immigrants, so we want to excuse ourselves for our English first of
Yes.
all.
like, we apologize for any maybe mistakes that we make, or like our accents maybe, but don't come for us. Like, we know.
we know, yes, exactly. And so that was the beginning of it. But what is with our schedules, though? So we moved here 4 or 5 years ago, as I said. We met each other in a German course.
Mhm.
That's where the whole thing got started. And after the German course, we had to continue our studies. And so we were like in high school back then when we first came to Germany. And we kind of have similar stories,
Yeah.
let's say. When we finished with our German course, we had to continue our high school, but because of the German system here, we were already above 18, and the schools that they send us to, it's a bit more complicated than the normal German school system, and so they didn't accept no years we did before. Like I moved here in 10th grade, and they were like, "Oh, you have to repeat your whole high school," and they didn't even let me do that from 9th grade. You know,
Mhm.
when your high school is starting, I had to do an extra year, and then so on.
Like a type of like preparation year, they would call it. Like,
Yes, exactly.
because they know that you are like new in Germany and you're like just finished with the German course, so they put you in like this type of class called like a preparation class for like the to get like,
Used to the subject,
yeah,
basically.
like you just get a quick look at like the subjects with like words that are important for each of them, just so you get like used to how the type of lifestyle in that school is. And then the year after that you actually go to like the 9th grade or whatever.
Yes,
So
they basically wanted to know, like, also our knowledge in
mhm.
those subjects
Yeah.
and how hard the classes would be, because
Mhm.
a lot of people actually dropped out after that year. So I
Mhm.
think it's smart, but in the same time dumb, because people just lose a lot of time and they lose interest in this
Yeah.
because of this damn reason.
I kind of had because like our schools are in the same building, but the school that I go to is like during the daytime, and the school that Elena goes to is during nighttime. Um, and that's due to like the reason that my school, which is in daytime, um, they were like demanding a type of 10th grade certificate that I had, which Elena didn't had because she moved to Germany when she was mid 10th grade in her
Country.
home country. So that's why she couldn't come to my school and had to go to the school which is in nighttime. And for me, they had the same type of system. Like there was this type of year called like a preparation year for school, which is, as Elena said, in my opinion, such a waste of time, since I was basically just learning a bit of German and some other subjects, but it was really feeling like a waste of time for me. So I got lucky and I got the opportunity to skip that year and to repeat my high school just in 4 years, like just from 9th grade till 12th. And I think for Elena, that was much more like stress, I would say.
Yes, because it was taking much more time.
Mm-hmm.
For example, this was already 4 years ago. He's finishing his high school this year, but I still have 2 years left
Yeah.
because I had to do that preparation year. And this year, I'm again in some type of mandatory year that I have to do before my 11th grade. And so he will finish high school this year. I'm gonna still be here for 2 more years. He might go to university soon, and it's just gonna be me, which is gonna be hard, not gonna lie, tough, but we're gonna get through it. And so I think this podcast, as we started now, because the idea of it was just because came to our mind because we didn't have time for each other. He's
Mhm.
going to school in the mornings, I go in the afternoons. We have jobs in the same time. And so now that he's gonna go away and I'm gonna still be here, I think it's gonna be such an opportunity for us to keep in touch and still have those type of
Yeah,
good
for sure.
conversations. Because with my friends that I have back home, it's really, really hard to keep in touch.
Mhm.
You don't get to have deep conversations with them
Yeah,
anymore.
for sure. I think like the factor of like distance plays such a big role. I mean, of course, you would make hopes to stay in touch with your loved ones or like people that you really feel close to. But sometimes it's really not in your hands, and just the factor of distance makes it hard, because it's not just distance, it's like a different place for the other person, a different type of lifestyle, of schedule, of plans, of new people in their lives, and it makes it hard to like maybe sometimes find time for each other to stay connected and keep each other updated and stay in touch. And I think like for us maybe it's a bit different, because I'm still gonna be in the same country and not so far away.
And the people, like, you're gonna still be in the same country,
Mhm.
and so the mentality wouldn't change as much.
Yeah, yeah,
But with
exactly.
but compared with people in our home countries, like, we changed so
Yeah.
much
Hmm.
mentally. Like, we developed
Definitely.
in a way that sometimes we do have conversations with people back home, and I'm not saying it in a shameful
Hmm.
way towards them, but it is a different country. We're experiencing different things in life and
Yeah,
other problems, like the responsibility that we're going through because of our parents and because of the way we want to achieve basically what we
yeah.
want to do.
Like we're going through such harder experiences. Like Elena said, it's not a type of like throwing shade or like saying it in a shameful way toward like people we know back home. It's just the way it really is. Like the type of experiences an immigrant goes through, especially maybe in a country like Germany where there's a lot of like bureaucracy and paperwork and all of that. It it's really hard, and like it really is the way it is. Like you somehow develop with your character based of this type of responsibility that you have to take over yourself and over your parents especially, because as Elena mentioned over and over, this type of responsibility towards our parents I think plays a big role in our life, since they can't really adapt with the language. Like of course they try as hard as they can, but it's like our main responsibility, since we are the ones trying to like integrate into this society with like many different factors such as learning the language or achieving our goals in school and college and our jobs and whatever. So like it throws such a heavy responsibility on us to take care of all the paperwork with like authorities and so on. And these experiences, believe me, like with no exaggeration, they play such a big role in like developing your character. Like you just start thinking differently about all types of perspective in life. And as Elena said, having sometimes conversations with people back home makes you feel that somehow you're actually grateful that you got to experience such stuff, because you see the growth and like the maturity that you gained through such experiences.
Exactly,
Really.
exactly. I feel like, I mean, we were still teenagers when
Hmm.
we came here. It was kind of the time for us to grow up,
Yeah.
And always felt like I'm missing out. Like, all my friends are going to universities, and I still feel like a child because I'm doing my high school.
Mm.
But the way we developed, it was just in a different form, but it was still very strong.
Yeah. Like it was fruitful, it was strong, it still was worth it, even though we're like doing it a different way that is much more difficult. At the end, it's
It's more difficult. I'm sorry. It's more difficult and also like forced.
yeah, it's like really that's a good word to describe it. Like it's not in your hands to choose. Like
Yeah.
you have to do it this way, and that makes you like really much more stronger. That's why it plays a good factor in like developing our characters.
Exactly, but as he said, I'm so grateful that that I got to come here. Like, I imagine sometimes just by having conversations with people that, I don't know, are still in Romania, or my family, for example. because I still have my family. My family moved here with me. But the way I experienced the problems of the house was more, they were more on my back than theirs. And so, for example, I will say my sister.
Mm.
My sister also lives here. She got her own family. She lives here, but she didn't get to go to school here. She came here when she was, I don't know, like 20. And she jumped directly in this, like, she started working, you know. And I think she didn't get to develop as much as we did because she didn't get to learn the language as much as we did and have connection with international people.
Yeah,
Like, besides the fact that we live in Germany, we have so many connections.
I think that plays a really big role.
Yes.
Yeah.
No? Like, we know people from so many countries, and also we don't like speaking German. Even though we live here and we're forced to fucking use it. For example, me, myself, I just like using German. I mean, I don't like using German. I just have to speak German in my work life and in school. But besides that, in my social life, I really hate using it. I feel really fake. And so that's why we even speak so, I mean, yeah, we speak kind of good English. I'm not
I
gonna
would
say,
say so.
I'm not, I still want to be humble, you know, but I did improve my English so much since I came. Like, oh my God, you don't want to know how bad my English was back in Romania.
I mean, same. Like, I was barely using the language, basically.
Exactly. But back when we got to be here and, like, for example, in the German course, we didn't know how to socialize in German because when you want to, I don't know, say a story and we couldn't find the right words in German because it was just so early, we started speaking in English. And we started getting better at it, and also because everything we do on social media is in English, like whatever videos we're watching, the music we're listening to. Me personally, I watch movies and everything without subtitles, anything. I really got to make my English really good just by liking it, basically.
Yes. And just like the type of, like, basically communication, like speaking the language almost every day with each other made us improve so much because we were all like somehow also like exchanging knowledge. Like sometimes we were like trying to show each other's mistakes while talking.
Yes.
Or like she was like sometimes dropping words that I've never heard and she was explaining to me what they mean or so. So it's like a type of like exchange at the same time while like practicing speaking the language, which is really important and good. So I think our English is like good, like it's really good.
I think I could survive in an English speaking country
Yeah,
without
same.
having to do a course. So there's that, first of all. And so what did we do here? We moved to Germany and we got to know each other, to improve our English, to learn German, but also the problems in our households or the paperwork.
Yeah. So I think, as I said before, like as I mentioned, it's basically like the most experiences I think that were really hard or difficult for us were just like this whole type of paperwork and like bureaucracy in Germany, because it was mostly coming from like our families. And as I said, we are like the ones who got thrown into this like society where we had to learn the language and everything about this country. So we had to take responsibility of it. And that puts a lot of stress on you, like besides all the type of stress that you go through in your own personal life, which includes going to school, having to study and have good grades, and on the other side, like working and having a job. And on another side, which I think is the hardest for us, is like social life in Germany.
Yeah.
It's really, really difficult. As Elena mentioned, we only like to like communicate in English when it comes to like social life because it just feels more comfortable and
Yes, I
more,
feel like myself.
yeah, like me too. Like I really don't feel myself when I speak German, and especially when it comes to socializing with like people your age.
Yes, because there's a lot of slang that we're not
Mm-hmm.
used to, and the jokes. I feel like the jokes are really not making so much sense to me most of the times. Like, for example, I'll be in school and people are just trying to make jokes with me, I'm not trying to push anyone away, you know? I'm not saying it in that way, but I just don't feel comfortable. Like, I could find something really funny, but I could never imagine myself dropping such a funny joke in German as I do in English.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what I mean. Like even if I try to like learn slang or maybe get more comfortable around this type of like street language, I just I really just can't. Like it's not that the language is difficult at this point. It's just that I feel like I don't have the ability to adapt to it somehow because I just don't feel myself while speaking it. So that type of pressure from like social life and having somehow to like find friends and socialize with people makes it also really difficult on like your mentality basically with all the type of stress that I already told you about with like paperwork and school and work and all of that. So all of these factors were really like important somehow for developing our characters, but at the same time they were like really tough. Like I wouldn't wish that anyone would go through such stuff, to be
Mm.
honest, because I don't think it was the perfect timing for us in like this age to go through stuff like this and take such big responsibilities.
I already actually have a question about this. Do you think that we don't enjoy using German in our social life because back there in our mind, German was forced into our lives? And so
Oh,
communicating in German for us feels like a chore, more than something natural.
yeah.
Because back then we've been forced to
I
learn some language,
really
some
like
words, for example, for paperwork.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God, this I think this is
Isn't it?
really
I
it
think this is the reason.
really like especially during the time when we were learning German, like we were forced to learn it because it was feeling like a waste of time to do a German course for longer and we wanted to like continue our like school, so we had to finish as fast as we can. So
But
we're
it,
like
oh, but it
forced.
was also Corona time.
Exactly. It was during Corona, like
Damn,
during
yeah.
quarantine. And we were just doing everything online and having video conferences, which wasn't really good when you were learning a new language. Like you have to see people and talk to them and socialize with like a bigger amount of time, not just half an hour or an hour online. And that put even more stress and like made you even more forced to like learn the language by yourself. And all of this again while doing paperwork
And
where
like,
no one could help you and you have to like learn how to write letters and be formal and how to talk with authorities, blah blah blah.
yeah, exactly. Or like, for example, if you if one of your parents was getting sick and you have to go to the
Mm-hmm.
hospital and learn like those terms they're using, like we didn't, like we were in a German course. We didn't know like body parts. We didn't
Yeah.
know sicknesses, like we didn't know names
Mm-hmm.
like that, and we've got forced basically to, I don't know, explain what my mom has.
Yeah.
Like, you go there and the doctor is like, who speaks German? Your mom points out to you, and you have to explain like, oh yeah, she has this pain since this many days and blah blah blah. It just got, I think we just got really forced into this thing that we grew to hate it
Yeah,
basically.
like feel really uncomfortable around it. Like it feels really like Elena said, like a chore.
It really is.
So this is like basically like summarized to say how our lifestyle in Germany is looking like for the past few years. I mean, of course, even though we've went through all of this, it's still somehow looking the same right now, I would say, but we got more used to it, and so we know how to maybe deal with the type of pressure right now, with like organizing our time, of course, as well, because
Yes.
if not, it gets really chaotic and it really makes you go into a place that is really down in your life where you don't want to be, because we've really been there, and it was hell to say.
Yes, but as he said, we have to schedule this. We have jobs.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'm working a part-time job. I'm working 5 days a week, mostly during the week than the weekends. And so sometimes I'm just waking up, going to work, come back home, shower, eat, go to school, come back and sleep. I'm sometimes feeling like a robot, not gonna lie. But in the same time, you still have to make time for your social life, because I think I would go nuts. Oh, sorry. I would literally go insane if I would have to, I don't know, just do one of these things.
Mm.
You gotta schedule it.
Yeah.
But I think that's enough of talking about like what we've been through. I think more like to get to know us is just by listening to us, and I don't know, maybe make your own little opinion on us.
Yeah, for sure. We would like to hear what you think about like the experiences we've went through and like what we told you about in this episode. But as we said, this was just like a type of background explaining on how we came up with this idea, how our lifestyle looks like, and just to give you a closer look on us, basically. But we definitely would like to give you a closer look on what we think about specific topics and our opinions and just our mindset.
Yes.
And we would like to share that in, like, of course, upcoming episodes about specific topics we would like to talk about.
Yes, exactly. I think we have so many things to talk
Yeah,
about.
for sure.
We already have so much prepared,
Yeah.
like love life or just really, let's say, deep topics.
But I think such deep topics that come through everyone's mind, I would say. And that's why I feel that it's a good idea to make episodes about such topics, because hopefully if you are listening to them, you would think, oh, actually, I'm not the only one who thinks this way. Like, there are people out there who thinks the same and have such opinions.
Yes, exactly. Or like, oh, I've also been through this.
Mm,
I'd like to hear more about it. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that our opinions matter,
of course, yeah.
but on
Maybe,
certain subjects, I think it's nice to hear
yeah.
other people's opinions. Just saying.
Definitely. So hopefully those type of topics we will be dealing with, and those episodes will feel like free therapy sessions for you.
Period.
We're really so excited and so happy to be putting out this podcast finally for you to listen to.
Yes, I'm
And
really excited.
yes.
Really, really excited. Because I have some friends that are waiting for this. And I'm just curious on what kind of people are going to listen to our
Same.
bitch asses yapping.
So I think this is enough for our first episode. I really hope you enjoyed listening to us talking and yapping and sharing everything about our own lives.
About our little life. Oh, that's gonna be it. We gotta wrap it up before we get into it already. Then talk to you. I mean, we're gonna talk to you later.
And hope you enjoyed this episode.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.